Welcome to Darkened Files, where the shadows speak. We uncover the untold stories behind domestic violence and brutal crimes, exposing the chilling truths hidden in plain sight. Real cases, real voices, no sugarcoating. If you're ready to step inside the darkest corners of reality, you're in the right place.
Right now at 11, murder charges in the death of Kada Scott. The man suspected of kidnapping her is now accused of killing her.
Kidnap me again, King replied, better be up to. Officials say their last exchange was at 10:09 when Kada texted King to call her when he arrived.
So, y'all remember Kada Scott, the sister we prayed for, the one we hoped would come home? Court papers just dropped. Her phone tells a story. I need y'all to hear it.
Kidnap me again, King replied, better be up to. Officials say their last exchange was at 10:09 when Kada texted King to call her when he arrived.
Girl, kidnap me again. 20 minutes after she climbed into that car, she was gone. This case flipped fast. It got a lot darker. This was Kada Scott, 23 years old. Watch her in the video, trying on a bridesmaid dress, smiling, full of plans. That smile was her future. She met her friend Pri at Penn State. They stayed tight after school. When Pri got engaged, Kada was one of the first called to stand up with her. The dress was ready. The plans were set. Kada was excited for the celebration. Then the 4th of October 2025 came. Everything changed. Court documents now show the texts she sent in the hours before she died. Those messages raise hard questions about what she and he really were to each other. And the evidence points to at least 3 people playing a role. The Philadelphia medical examiner ruled her death a homicide. Keon King, 21, who already faced kidnapping and conspiracy counts, now faces murder charges and about 19 other counts, is greater than the affidavit of probable cause states supporting homicide, abuse of corpse, and conspiracy charges among 11 more crimes filed against King. Is greater than. We talking about abuse of corpse, robbery, arson, and firearm violations. Law enforcement sources say Kada Scott was shot. Investigators believe she died within 20 minutes of getting into King's car. That alone is chilling, but there's more. Police followed King to a house after that night. 2 women lived there. Investigators found contractor bags, a hammer, ammunition. Those women were detained, questioned, and released. The question is simple. What did they know? Were they the people on surveillance moving Kada's body?
Her mom, her papa too. I want to thank the doctor, the hospital, everyone previously on her roster who messed up. Now a chance for her not optional. That's my queen. I want to go to space just so I could give her a star. I know she's probably tired of running through my mind. I gotta get her a car. If you got any letters or mail for her, just send it to me. Because she lives in my heart. She brings everything to the whole table. She's not just a snack, she's the whole label. That's not just my baby, that's the whole cradle. If your girl is all that in a bag of chips, then mine is all that in a whole potato. And so what if she's a snorer? I adore her. And when she's away off to sleep in her bed, I reread our messages and everything that we've said, just so I can still at least speak to her in my head. I love being with her. I'm always smiling. You should see my whole face. I want to be with her to where in old age, people always ask, you got a girl? I say, I got a soulmate. She is to me, dang. I know, right? Basically. I want to thank God for making her possible.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jacqueline London.
And I'm Fred Shropshire. While investigators have not yet revealed how she died, we are learning more about the conversations leading up to her death. It's been a long month for the Scott family. Scott was reported missing after she vanished 18 days ago during her overnight shift at a nursing home in Northeast Philadelphia. And then on October 14th, Keon King turned himself over to police. He He was charged with kidnapping.
And the very next day, police searched near an abandoned school. There was no sign of Kada Scott in that area. A tip led police back to that same area 4 days later, and that's when Scott's body was found. Then King faced another round of charges. That brings us to this afternoon when police announced a third set of charges against King. He is facing about 20 charges in all, including murder, abuse of a corpse, arson, stalking, and robbery.
The investigation is far from over. Court documents give us a closer look at the last text messages leading up to her disappearance and death. NBC 10's Shaira Arias is live in Germantown, where the city hosted a safety meeting blocks away from where Scott's body was found. What did they say about the case, Shaira?
Fred, great question, because the first thing that Mayor Sherelle Parker said was that she was not going to get into the investigation or give details about the investigation of Kada Scott. But what we are able to see with these court documents was that last conversation, what Kada was saying to King that night that she disappeared.
Yes, sir. It's heartbreaking for what happened to Jada and her family.
Kathy Warsinger was one of the many people who lives in Germantown to show up to Wednesday night's community safety town hall meeting. The same community that continues to grapple with the trauma of recently losing one of their own, 23-year-old Kada Scott.
This was someone that we all, in some way or another, connected to.
On Wednesday, 1-year-old Keon King, already charged with kidnapping, was hit with murder and other counts after officials ruled Kada's death a homicide. Court documents obtained by KYW reveal phone evidence. King's phone pinged where Kada was last seen. It also pinged where her body was found. On October 4, the night she disappeared as she headed to work in Chestnut Hill, Kada got a dozen calls from a number linked to King.
Investigators say King texted Kada letting her know he had a new number. Kada asked who it was. King then replied, Kel.
That night, Kada wrote, "Kid me again." King replied, "Better be up to." Officials say their last exchange was at 10:09 when Kada texted King to call her when he arrived. A coworker told police she heard Kada upset that night. Police say Kada was last seen leaving work in a 2008 Hyundai, the same car that police say was stolen and later set on fire on October 7. Cell data shows Kada and King arrived at the Auberry Rec Center parking lot the night she vanished. Sources tell NBC 10 they believe she was killed 20 to 30 minutes after she went missing. Surveillance at the rec center captured two people arriving and exiting King's car. Hours later, two suspects were seen taking what officers believe was a body from that vehicle and placing it where Kada's remains were later found. The investigation is far from over.
Recovering Kada's body was not the outcome we had hoped for, but we are grateful that we were able to bring her home.
Commissioner Kevin Bethel promises accountability.
We continue to pursue anyone who helped, who concealed, who participated in this act. We will not stop.
And just want to let all the residents here in Germantown know that here at True Light Fellowship Church, starting tomorrow at 10 a.m., they are going to be offering resources for those residents who just simply want to talk to someone who need help navigating the tragedy that happened here in Germantown. In Germantown, Shaira Arias, NBC 10 News.
Investigators still don't know what Kada meant by "kidnap me again." Was it a joke? A reference to something before? Authorities say there's no sign of a prior incident between them. Still, the text is there. It shows they were planning to meet. On October 4, she got a dozen calls from a number tied to King. Court records show King texted that he had a new number. Kada asked who it was. King replied with one word, Kel. They kept planning. Their final exchange came at 10:09 p.m. Kada wrote, CM when you hear. Investigators say CM means call me when you arrive. That was the last text Kada Scott ever sent. Now the timeline sharpens. A coworker at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill, the assisted living facility where Kada worked, told police what she saw. Around 10 p.m., she saw Kada outside. Kada was on the phone. She sounded upset. The witness heard Kada say, I can't believe you're calling me about this. Then an expletive. Kada was arguing. She was frustrated. She was upset about something. And right after that call, someone saw her. Step into a dark-colored SUV? It pulled off fast? No. Hesitation. Nobody knows for sure who Kada was talking to in that moment. Personally, I don't think it was King. The tone didn't fit. It sounded too charged, too emotional, like she was arguing with someone else. Maybe it was the person she'd seen earlier that night at Topgolf. Maybe her partner. Maybe a friend. The police got her phone records. They know who it was. But they're keeping that piece close. What we do know is what came next. At 10:15 p.m., both Kada's and King's phones pinged in the same spot right by her job. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. 9 minutes later, at 10:24, Kada's phone went dead. Law enforcement says that's when she was shot. Within 20 minutes of leaving her shift, Kada Scott's life was over. Think about that 20 minutes from stepping into that car to never being seen again. At 10:28, just 4 minutes after her phone went dark, cameras caught the stolen black Hyundai Accent pulling into the lot at Aubrey Recreation Center right beside Ada Lewis Middle School. That's where her body would later be found. That car sat there for 2.5 days, her body still inside. But King didn't just park and walk away. His phone told on him. Investigators tracked his movements. His signal led them to a house on the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace in southwest Philly. When police raided that spot, what they found was straight out of a nightmare. Contractor bags, a hammer, ammo, tools that fit the kind of violence found on Kada's body. 2 women lived there. They were brought in, questioned, then let go. King wasn't there when police searched, but his phone had been multiple trips back and forth between that house and the wooded area where Kada's body was later discovered. So what was he doing? Picking up supplies? Getting help? Were those women part of it? Nobody's saying yet. But that kind of pattern, the house, the bags, the phone pings, that's not random. Then came October 5th, the night after Kada vanished. At 11:39 p.m., King's gold Toyota Camry showed up on camera, pulling into that same rec center lot, the one where the stolen Hyundai sat with her body inside. The video shows 2 people getting out of that Camry. Someone else drove it away, meaning there was a third person, another accomplice still unknown. Those 2 stayed there, 4 hours, just waiting. Until almost 4 in the morning, when the whole area was quiet. At 3:56 a.m., surveillance caught them again, walking toward the Hyundai. Opening it, pulling something heavy from inside. Court papers say it looked like a human body. They carried it into the woods behind the school, the same woods where Kada's remains would be found 2 weeks later. Then, the Hyundai drove off. 3 days later, October 7th, firefighters were called to a car fire. That same black Hyundai, burned out, torched on purpose, evidence gone. The car ended up crushed in a junkyard. So now we've got King. 2 people caught moving Kada's body. A third driving that Camry. 2 women living in a house tied to it all. How many people knew? How many played a part? And why haven't more been charged? Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel spoke straight at the town hall. He said, "We continue to pursue anyone who helped, who concealed, who participated in this act. We will not stop. The case is open, and they know others are out there. They're building towards something bigger." On the 22nd of October 2025, 18 days after Kada went missing, the DA charged Keon King with murder. Nearly 20 counts total. Abuse of a corpse, robbery, arson, theft, evidence tampering, weapons charges, the list goes on.
Stuff that I watch on TV, in crime shows, scripts. To see this happen to someone so close to me.
Priya is describing what goes through her mind when she thinks about her friend Kada Scott. The 2 met while attending Penn State University. She says losing Kada has been a nightmare she still cannot fully understand.
It hurts because I kept replaying this in my mind that she didn't even stand a chance. You can give her a week, you can give her a few days, you can give her anything. Everyone was so hopeful that we would find her and she would be alive.
Just a few weeks ago, she tells us Scott was getting ready to be one of her bridesmaids. Priya sharing this video of Scott excited, trying on the dress she was going to wear.
She was the type of person that she said she was going to do it. She was going to do it. She followed through all the way. And that is just something that I'm really, really proud of her for.
The community came together again Tuesday night. Dozens gathered near the vacant Ada Lewis Middle School, the place her body was found. They prayed, released balloons. Kada Scott will always be, to me and to us, the forever Miss Philadelphia. They promised to keep her memory alive, to turn their pain into something real. We're gonna have a law called the Kada Scott Law so that women, black women, all women dealing with domestic violence, will know that we are with them. She went missing on October 4th, found 2 weeks later. King charged with kidnapping and more. Now, police believe others helped a second person, maybe more. The city's clearing the abandoned school grounds where her body was found. Councilwoman Cindy Bass demanded the district tear it down. Workers already started clearing debris. And out there, among the flowers and candles, her memorial keeps growing. King's being held on $500,000 cash bail, waiting for arraignment. The community's been waiting for that murder charge to stick. Everyone knew from the beginning this wasn't just a kidnapping. It was something colder. Now that the word murder is finally attached to his name, one question lingers in every corner of Germantown. Who else is responsible? Because the proof is clear as day. The cameras, the pings, the house, the helpers. There's no way he did it alone. The DA won't say. The investigation rolls on. But the people want more than silence. They want justice. And today...
Breaking right now at 4 o'clock, the Philadelphia medical examiner has now ruled Kada Scott's death a homicide. That laid word from police this afternoon, who now say they're recommending murder charges against Keon King, the man already charged in her disappearance. All this happening just hours after new court documents reveal details about phone calls and text messages between King and Scott on the very day she went missing. It is Wednesday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Sarah Bloomquist. The big story on Action News is the major development in the Kada Scott death investigation. While we now know her death has been ruled a homicide, we still don't know exactly how she died.
Action News reporter Chad Perdelli live at East Mount Airy with all the developments today. Quite a busy day, Chad.
Yeah, like you said, the Philadelphia Police Department announced just a few moments ago that the medical examiner had ruled that Kada Scott's death was a homicide. It was announced on Twitter by Deputy Commissioner Frank Venor. Now, I do know how Kada Scott was murdered. We're not releasing that information, making sure that the family has been notified. But police department is recommending to the DA to file those murder charges, and just a few of the new details we're learning about the disappearance and murder of Kada Scott. Keon King's alleged criminal conspiracy began just before midnight on October 3rd, when court records say he stole a Hyundai Accent left unattended and running by a food delivery worker on the 6600 block of Sprague. Investigators say he'd used that stolen car to meet up with Kada Scott the following night. Charging documents say Scott and King made plans to meet up, with the final exchange between the two being, quote, "CM when you hear." 6 minutes later, at 10:15 p.m., investigators say the two appeared to be together near Scott's place of employment, based on cell phone data. It'd be the last time Scott would be seen alive. At 10:24 p.m., Kada Scott's phone goes offline. 4 minutes later, the Hyundai Accent parks at the Arboretum, and the vehicle remains there. Using cell phone technology, investigators track King to this house on the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace. A search of the house turned up contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition, among other items, according to the complaint. 2 women who live there were detained and interviewed but released. King was not at the house. The criminal complaint says King's cell phone was tracked taking multiple trips between the Belmar Terrace home and the area where Scott's body was found. At 11:39 p.m. on October 5th, court records say King's registered Toyota Camry was caught on surveillance returning and parking at the recreation center next door to where Scott's body was found. It says 2 people exited the vehicle, and 4 hours later, 2 individuals appeared to take a large object consistent with the body out of the Hyundai Accent. And so far, King is charged with kidnapping, theft, arson, and other related charges, but so far not murder. But those charges are expected, I'm told. No other accomplices at this point have been charged. Police continue to investigate, though. I did reach out to King's attorney and so far have not heard back. I'm live in East Mount Airy. Chad Perdelli, Channel 6 Action News. Back to you guys.
Okay, Chad, thank you. As you heard there in Chad's report, police are trying to piece together the communication between Kada Scott and Keon King in the days and hours before her disappearance. One particular text that's now part of the investigation was sent at 10:07 a.m. on October 4th, nearly 12 hours before Scott disappeared. In it, she texted the words, quote, "Kidnap me again," to a number that police have now linked to King. The reply that came back, quote, "better be up to," which was followed by specific plans to meet later that night. We were asking police if they can shed light on the context of that alarming exchange. We do not yet have a response.
Outside the old Ada Lewis Middle School, the memorial keeps growing. Balloons, roses, notes with her name, messages saying she mattered and she did. Kada Scott will always be to me and to us the forever Miss Philadelphia. That's what community members said as they promised to keep her name alive. They're calling for the Kada Scott law so that women, especially Black women, dealing with domestic violence, know they're not alone. Kada disappeared on October 4th. Her body was found 2 weeks later. King, 21 years old, faces charges for kidnapping and more. Police say a second person might be involved. Crews have already started clearing out the school grounds, cutting weeds and debris. Councilwoman Cindy Bass demanded that the building be torn down for good. The school district says they're reviewing their policies. Kada was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a businesswoman, a caregiver, a dreamer. She deserved to live that life she was building. She deserved to wear that bridesmaid dress, to keep growing her beauty brand, to keep helping the elders she cared for, to keep shining. But she's gone now, and her family is left with memories, grief, and questions that may never be fully answered. What we can do, what we must do, is make sure her name lives on. Make sure every person involved in this faces real justice. Make sure the system changes so the next young woman doesn't meet the same fate. Make sure Kada's light keeps shining through how we treat one another. King's now facing murder charges and 19 other counts. He's being held on $500,000 bail. The case isn't over. More arrests are expected. The community's watching, waiting, demanding that everybody involved be held accountable. Because Kada Scott deserved better. She deserved her life. She deserved her future. The least we can do is fight for her justice. Less than an hour after the medical examiner's ruling, the Philadelphia Health Department confirmed Kada Scott died from a gunshot wound to the head. We know how she died, but we still don't know why. And this community won't rest until that answer comes. That abandoned school building still stands a ghost of neglect, a symbol of what happens when our neighborhoods are forgotten. Councilwoman Bass said it best. It's not just about tearing down a building. It's about showing this city that our safety matters, that our women matter, that Black women are seen, valued, and protected. Now comes the legal road, the arraignment, the trial, the evidence. But no verdict will bring her back. No sentence will fill the hole. She left. What her family asks is simple. Remember her. Not as a headline, not as a hashtag. Remember Kada, the woman smiling in that dress, the woman caring for elders, the woman building something for herself and her people. That's the Kada we carry forward. And as a community, we gotta ask the hard questions. How many more Kadas before we change? How many more families gotta stand over candles and balloons before we take violence against Black women seriously? How many more abandoned buildings gotta turn into crime scenes before we invest in us? These are the conversations that can't stop when the cameras leave. Prevention starts with awareness, with resources, with accountability. Rest in peace, Kada Scott, forever Miss Philadelphia. We'll keep saying your name. We'll keep fighting for your justice. For every woman who came before, for every woman who'll come after, and to everyone watching, if you know something, say something. Don't protect the wrong people. Don't stay silent. Her family deserves the full truth. To Kada's family, we see you. We stand with you. We won't stop until every last person responsible answers for what they did. That's it for this update on Kada Scott's case. I said what I said. If you've been following with us, drop a comment. Subscribe to Unheard Cries TV. We'll keep covering the trial. We'll keep showing up. We'll keep shining light on violence against Black women because silence is not an option. Until next time, stay safe, look out for each other, and never stop demanding justice.